All right, we are back with our CONMEBOL World Cup qualifier preview. And remember, Julie Stewart-Binks will be joining us in a little bit and with Chilean legend Mark Gonzalez. But we have our own star to introduce, our friend, our parcera.
That's right.
So we have to start with her first, right, Alexis?
That's right. You might remember her as one of the women playing in the women's national team for Colombia. You might remember her as the soccer blogger. You remember her from our show, but she will be a part of the fuboTV family, part of our studio coverage for the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together unless you're driving for the one, the only, Melissa Ortiz, everybody.
Whoa, que. Presente.
That's right.
Thank you.
What is good, Melissa? Thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, you represented the Colombian national team. We should start there because they're in a bit of a dire situation. Only one win so far in these World Cup qualifiers. What do they need to do to turn things around?
What do they need to do? They need to score. They need to score. Yeah. There's been lack of in the previous matches, and there's a saying. It's you can play bad football, but as long as you score, that's all that matters, right? I think the saying in Spanish sounds better, actually. But yeah, that's exactly it. And a burst of energy. The locker room needs to have a better energy because from what I understood, it wasn't that way last year. So that's a little bit of what needs to happen.
We've talked about this before, Christian and I, about how players like James Rodriguez, not necessarily goal scorers. They're more, they want to set up the goal scorer.
Facilitators.
Yeah, they're more facilitator. They're more creative, But when he first went to Everton, it felt like there was a bit of pressure on him to get some goals and to maybe put his name out there and put himself out there saying, I'm back. Do you think he has to do the same thing with the national team, or do you think it's Radamel Falcao or whoever replaces him?
Well, let's step back a second. At Real Madrid, he wasn't given the opportunity to shine, right? And at Everton, he was finally given that chance. Under Ancelotti, he was finally getting playing time, and he's done really well. Other than his injuries in and out in the last 4 months or so. Is there going to be pressure? Of course. With any captaincy ban, with any leadership or number 10 in any squad in the country, in the world, and especially in South America, and especially in Colombia, you're going to have the pressure, right? But it's not going to rely fully on him anymore. And I think he knows that. And I think the squad has a depth where, it's almost going to be like pass the torch also. I mean, you look at Muriel, Duvan Zapata, who are absolutely killing it in Serie A right now. Muriel is number 3 in the goal scoring leaderboard. So I think he'll have less pressure, but of course, once again, he has the captaincy ban if he is selected captain again. So if Falcao isn't starting, and that's what is expected, so we shall see.
Christian, I don't know if you caught that. Only a Colombian person would say he didn't get a chance at Real Madrid. They held it down at Real Madrid.
The bias, we confirmed Zidane hates Colombia.
Yeah,
we know now.
You'll never get a good coffee for the rest of his life.
No, I'm not even gonna send him a French roast. Not even do that. Not even French press that.
Do you have an Algerian roast that you could just put a France flag over it?
I know, right?
So the as far as Colombia is sitting in 7th place right now with 4 points, which is as I've adopted Colombia. Everybody knows that is my nation during the World Cup because the Dominican Republic is not going to get there anytime soon, but hopefully sooner than later. But the missing out on the World Cup for Colombia doesn't even it feels wrong. It's uncomfortable. It feels
wrong for the World Cup.
Yeah. What is the feeling like? What are the consequences if they miss out on this World Cup?
Ooh, all right. Well, first off, I'm just thinking about World Cup without those dancings, rastas.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not going to be the same. Energy's not going to be there, I mean, I think Colombian as a fan base, I went to both 2014 World Cup and 2018 Russia. I'm telling you, the stadiums were all yellow because Colombians, no matter what, if they need to save money, if they need to hustle to afford the trip, they're going, right, as fans. Now, the consequences of Colombia not going to a World Cup, astronomical. I think one mentally, it would just be the biggest letdown, I think, in all Colombian history, given the players in the squad that we have right now. I mean, we look back in history and there was that 16-year absence or gap where Colombia did not compete in the World Cup, right? And they somewhat had the players, some of the veterans were getting older, but it was a generational thing. Right now, we can't even use that excuse of being a generational thing because you have so many players stacked and playing in around Europe, from in Spain and England and Italy, even in Russia, doing really well, in Mexico. And then you also have the domestic players doing well. So I feel like there's no excuse. And we're just hoping that Reinaldo Rueda, who's also known as a triple R, RRR, triple R. Yeah, we could go with that. We're like putting some New York in there. But he's really known as a triple R. Hopefully he can bring some new energy, and hopefully that won't be the case. Like, I don't even want to think that way of them not qualifying.
I mean, it's certainly not special for Colombia, but match day 5 was rescheduled for, I guess, whenever they decide to do it in the fall. Yeah. We're going to play match day 7 and 8. No, don't get confused. 5 is later. But that's when they host Brazil. And, that might be all pressure on Colombia now to get in that top 5. And there's a Copa America in between there. I mean, how much pressure is on Rueda to make something happen pretty quickly here? Because he's making his debut. Pretty soon he's going to have a Copa America. Maybe that's not as important anymore because World Cup qualifying seems like that's now the single most important thing in this jam schedule.
Reinaldo has a lot of pressure on him. I do think that the postponements of the World Cup qualifying matches, those match day 5 and 6, that only played, I think, to his favor. Because imagine going into match day 5, Colombia versus Brazil, as your first match back with the national team, and especially in the poor rhythm that they're in, that would have been horrendous, Not horrendous.
That's when you have to tell your new boss, like, I already had a vacation scheduled, so I'm going to have to start.
Literally. Can someone cover for me?
It's a wedding, a destination. I don't want to say no. Like, is that cool if we just start after that,
Exactly. So I think this postponements, that will be played sometime in the fall, played to his favor because and not to I guess not live up to Peru's game, but Peru obviously is not as strong as Brazil, so it will be a more fair test for Reinaldo at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they have to get 3 points for the next couple matches. They need to turn things around very, very quickly. Otherwise, you're going to have a very sad Melissa Ortiz and Christian Polanco, okay?
Yeah. 2 very proud Colombians. Hey, don't forget, we'll be right back after this. We've got JSB and Chilean international legend Marc Gonzalez.